Well, hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Friday's biohack webinar. And today, is kind of a precursor to what we're going to be talking about tomorrow in the California meetings at the corporate office. And we're going to focus on what is rejuvenation technology, how does Teleyouth really plug into that? And Dr. Chris, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Dr. Tina, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And yes, these are some of the most common questions we get about our formula. And we really want to explore it in a deeper way so that you can really understand and explain how Teleyouth and our formulas are so different than what's out there. I mean, this is a technology that is ahead of its time, and it's really being discovered on a daily basis because of the importance of signal proteins, signal molecules that we're going to explain. And so, Dr. Tina, how would you describe rejuvenation technology just in a brief way?
Oh, great question. We have our biological clock, which is our internal clock. It's how is our body aging? And that can be measured now. So the biological clock is that whole internal part of us, while we have the chronological clock, and that keeps time moving forward. So with measuring our biological clock, we could actually be younger inside our bodies than what our chronological clock is. And with the advanced technologies of like Teleyouth and our signaling molecules and our protein peptides, we are able to help people reverse that biological clock. And that's why we can call Teleyouth rejuvenation technology. How do you reverse aging, Dr. Chris? What are some of the key factors that allow Teleyouth to help us go through our reverse aging?
Yeah, these are the secrets because, like you say, we have a biological clock, and most people really their biological clock is older than their chronological one in many cases. So to help them discover ways to reverse aging is just powerful. I mean, this is powerful tools that you all can share with individuals. And, the clinical science has many hallmarks of aging. There's at least a dozen of them now that have been identified. But the key ones are the immune system modulation, the ability for the immune system to adapt to the different types of stressors that we have, microbes and the toxins and that we're exposed to, and the different types of issues that our immune system has to deal with to maintain balance in the body. And of course, stress mediation. We always refer to how important it is to deal with stress because that's the underlying cause of accelerated aging. And when you can mediate that stress, you really have a leg up on just reversing aging. I'll give you an example. We can talk about our formula. The Teleyouth is so powerful because it has multiple forms of stress mediation. And not to get too technical, but there's several genes that impact our stress, that are associated with our stress response. And like an example would be the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is the brain command center, and it helps us deal with PTSD. You hear about, the athletes and the military, exposed to issues and war environments and things like that, the PTSD that they suffer from. And just today's lifestyles often create PTSD. So there's one area that, we help, like with the rhodiola, facilitates that calming and stress mediation in the central nervous system. And then you have the areas of the glands, the adrenals, the thyroid. Here's where you make your energy with the adrenals, and you regulate metabolism with your thyroid. And these two glands deal with stress in those areas. and you have very specific genes that impact those two glands. And the Telloyuth, by mediating stress to downregulate the adrenals and to facilitate the ability for the thyroid to, deal more with digestion and metabolism than trying to artificially make energy, because the adrenals are exhausted from the cortisol production that we talk about. And these are clinical results that we're sharing with you, how the Telloyuth can actually, it's been measured to reduce cortisols. So here you see the FTE. So we're looking at the rhodiola, the FTE. We're looking at blood flow, the cardiovascular stressors that we experience. And our arginine is very specific in facilitating nitric oxide production, which opens up the vascularity so that we can have less stress on our cardiovascular system. So Dr. Tina, this is truly remarkable formula, how we have multiple genes that indicate the stress pathways, but we also have multiple ingredients that facilitate, the ability for the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, and of course our aloe, helps mediate the immune system and build our resilience. So very, very powerful tools to reverse the aging process. Back to you.
Right, we do. Great points there. And the other thing that is really important to talk about, when we're young, we have a very efficient cellular signaling that happens. And it's important it's like having this internet inside our body where all of the organs, all of the systems are all communicating with each other. And it's so interesting because we have the gut-brain axis. You talked about the adrenals with the thyroid. Everything is always orchestrating and talking to each other and balancing itself out. And it's so interesting how the body will always work on survival. So if one of your systems is being stressed, other systems will kick in and they'll signal back and forth to help rebalance and orchestrate all of the bodily functions. And we support so many of the different systems, and we provide the cell signals that are depleted as we age. So when we're young, we have a lot of these different communication molecules. You're going to hear things like exosomes being talked about now. Exosomes are communication molecules that are very prevalent in the body. When those start to deplete, we lose that ability to communicate with different systems. We lose that internal cellular communication. We lose the inside to outside cellular communication. And this is when we start to lose energy production. This is when our immune system starts to slow down. This is when we can't handle stress very well. And so Telloyuth has very specific signal molecules with our fertilized tissue extract, our FTE, to super rejuvenate and recharge the body as though we are young. Dr. Chris.
I like the topic of the exosomes, because it's like to understand an exosome, it's just like a shuttle bus. It's a way for these signal molecules to shuttle from inside the cell to go to the outside, and from the outside to go to the different parts of the body. And the fact that we impact that, it's in our Surion technology. These are full of exosomes that help rejuvenate the skin, and you see the exosomes that are impacted in our fertilized tissue extract have the ability to do this shuttling of the signals in and out of the cell. So this allows it to happen from the standpoint of getting through the various barriers that prevent the signal molecules from happening just on their own. So when we talk about cell signaling, it's where it starts at the cellular level, but it builds on each level after that. The cells make the organs, and the organs have their own communication signaling, and the organs make the systems, and the systems have their own forms of communication. We know about the hormones from the endocrine system, the neurotransmitters from the central nervous system. We know about the cytokines from the immune system. So you see how the signaling just expands and advances through the various levels of the body. And you have this wonderful orchestration when you can establish it at the cellular level, because that's where it all starts. And the ability to do it at that level facilitates the orchestration throughout the body. And it's why we talk about our ingredients as superfood ingredients. The FTE, Dr. Tina, super rejuvenator and recharger. But to understand that, this is why we're getting a little bit deeper into what these signal molecules really are all about, and why they have the ability to reverse aging. Do you want to get into some of the other ingredients?
Yes, I want to jump over to the marine collagen, because that is the super glue that holds our body together. It's like installing the wiring for the cellular communication and the connectivity. Keep in mind, when Dr. Chris talked about stress, when we cannot handle stress, when our resiliency is low, and we have accelerated stress, when we're in overwhelm, when we can't deal with stress, we have that anxiety or that panic or PTSD, what's happening is we are literally breaking down our collagen 10 times faster. So collagen is so important to have that reestablished within our body, because it helps with that communication and connectivity. It's the most abundant protein in our body, and it's a key building block in all of the body's connective tissues. So we want to make sure, one of the things that you need to do is, taking your collagen or taking your Tello유스 helps provide collagen, but it also helps us to handle stress so that we can not break down our collagen, as fast as 10 times more than being able to handle stress. So, Dr. Chris, would you like to add anything regarding collagen?
Yeah, it's so important, because we don't realize 30% of all the proteins in our body are collagen. And so, 70% of the protein in our skin. That's why when we see the breakdown of our skin, we know that it's the collagen is a major issue, because 70% of the protein in the skin is collagen. So you really bring up a great point on this ingredient.
Yes, great. And then, I also want to talk a little bit about the rhodiola, because this is our super relaxer, calming the central nervous system, right? And it helps our mind and our body and our emotions adapt to stress. And rhodiola is an adaptogen. Okay, so it also helps us with dealing with fatigue. It's an anti-fatigue agent. It helps to stabilize our moods. It again reduces anxiety. It helps with depression. It also helps us with those feelings of exhaustion or irritability and burnout. So many people are dealing with adrenal burnout. The rhodiola, along with our fertilized tissue extract, is so synergistic in helping to relax, to calm, to help us deal with and build our resiliency, because stress is going to continue to turn up. That dial will turn up all around us. So this is going to help you to stay in that happy bubble and stay calm. The rhodiola is also an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory. And inflammation is so important to be able to bring our inflammation down, because when we have that fire, that flame that's going on inside our body, it's one of the things that stops our stem cells from getting to the site, the various sites, to be able to do the actual repair. And Dr. Chris, do you want to go ahead and jump into that topic?
I do. I want to kind of explain about the chaga mushroom, as far as let me jump to one
Sure.
of the really super protector ingredients. And that's where you can see how our lives have changed in the last 20 years, where we went from a 0G society to a 5G society, meaning that we've got these electromagnetic fields that have been introduced into our environment. And we all know about the therapeutic dynamics of mushrooms. You know, if you're in the health industry, you realize that mushrooms can be very beneficial for building our immune system. But the chaga has a very special super protective dynamic, because not only is it therapeutic for our immunity, but also therapeutic in dealing with the radiation that we receive, whether it's solar or ionizing radiation. And so important in today's culture to deal with the bombardment that we're experiencing. So sorry to get off track there a little bit, Dr. Team, but I wanted to just really emphasize the chaga mushroom.
I think it's great to bring that up, because the other thing too is we have such a fear mongering going on about don't go out in the sunlight, stay out of the sun. And that's also hurting our culture. So we need to be able to get out in the sun, and the chaga helps rebuild the melanin in our skin to protect us as we go out into the sun. As you know, that good morning sun and the evening sun is so important for our circadian rhythm. And we need to get out in the sun, because we're also going to have that vitamin D, right? Where our body is going to need that vitamin D. And by supplementing with vitamin D, it's so very different than getting out in the sun and getting the natural sunlight and being exposed to the natural vitamin D. And I'm not talking about being out there in hours unprotected. It's about being out there and having sun exposure on your body for a good 20 to 30 minutes minimally a day. So our chaga
It's like a nutrient fortification, and the chaga helps us build that those melanin reserves in our body, while the sun also stimulates the melanin production, so that we can just build our little powerhouses that when you need that energy, it's there in the reserves within the melanin when we're not making it, in our mitochondria.
Absolutely. And vitamin D is so important for our bone health, and our bone
Yes.
health is so important for the production of our stem cells. Okay, so our stem cells are produced in our big bones, in our bone marrow. And so getting out in the sun is going to help with the health of our bones as well. As well as our collagen is going to help with our bone health.
Well, you bring up a great topic, stem cells. That's a hot one. And again, in today's culture and the science and technology, the research that's going forward in stem cell technology, because that's how our body regenerates and repairs. And do you want to share a little bit about our aloe? Because I think it's an ingredient here we haven't touched on yet, how powerful it is in dealing with stem cell production, the release.
Absolutely. So we call our aloe vera gel extract our super healer, and it stimulates and increases the release of our body stem cells as much as 200 to 800% than you normally would release those stem cells into the system. Why is this important? The more stem cells that we can release into the system before they get released, they replicate within the bone marrow. So now what you're doing is you're actually enhancing your stem cell system by releasing them into the body. The fertilized tissue extract then activates them and tells them where to go. So we want our stem cells to be released into the system, but the aloe vera gel extract is so much more. It helps with reducing inflammation. So many people that have leaky gut or, just inflammation throughout the body, that aloe vera gel extract that we have is incredible for being able to go to those different areas and put the fire out. Not only that, but the biological sugars in the aloe vera gel, the 400-to-1 concentrate, actually rebuilds the cellular receptors on all of our cells, so that when we're also releasing those stem cells, when we're activating communication with our fertilized tissue extract, all of those communication molecules can dock into the receptors. So when we're looking at our aloe vera gel extract, along with the combination of our fertilized tissue extract, you have such a powerful way to have those communication molecules received into the cells. And so important for that. Dr. Chris, what else is our aloe vera gel extract good for?
Good for so many things because it mimics fresh aloe, and it's only fresh aloe that has the ability to be antioxidant and antiviral, antibacterial. And also it is immune modulator, meaning that if your immune system is weak, that makes you susceptible to cancer and arthritic conditions, it strengthens the immune system. If your immune system is overactive and destructive and breaking down the body because it won't turn off, the aloe vera has the ability to modulate it down. So as an immune modulator, it is so powerful. And the fact that it mimics fresh aloe and is a 400-to-1 concentrate of that aloe, you're getting such a powerful therapeutic dose every time you take the Telo Omega, or the Tellouth, excuse me. So it's just a powerful, powerful ingredient. So you can see what we're sharing with you is how each one of these ingredients are synergistic and so therapeutic in their own right that it just makes the formula stand out unlike anything else that's out there.